Hello, family. So we're back again. I did promise during the last podcast that I want to go on that 11 months break I went last year, and I'm so excited to come back for this month's episode, month of February 2026. This episode, we're still going to be taking a lead from what we discussed the last time, the 10 virgins from Matthew 25 1 to 13, and it's such a vital parable Jesus Christ shared because it touched on so many aspects of life. And last week we looked at it holistically. What we're going to be doing in the next episodes is we're going to be breaking them down into various aspects of life so we can go deeper and, of course, draw valuable lessons from them. So I'm going to begin, and I'm going to be talking about it from a unique perspective that got me thinking for the past weeks now. And it's about opportunities as it is. When you look about the story of these 10 virgins from tonight's episode or from this month's episode, the theme is the financial wisdom of oil. Preparation is not currency of opportunity, really, as it is, but this story is not just about oil in the lamp. Is much more about that. I'm going to be looking at it from preparation as it relates to our finances, right? And I would love to begin with this hook. Have you ever missed an opportunity in your life, not because you weren't qualified, but because you weren't financially prepared? I have. COVID year 2020, I had an opportunity to relocate to New York for a job opportunity, but conversations for another day. We missed that by a whole mile. And when you look at the opportunity that was missed here, it was about 10 virgins, as the Bible puts them, 10 virgins who were invited to a wedding. And the nature of this wedding required them to come with their lamps, maybe for direction or for whatever it is. But they were to come with their lamp. So they all had lamps, right? And the Bible did not really distinguish them until a certain kind of action happened, was taken. And the action that was taken was 5 had reserves, oil reserves. 5 did not have oil reserved. Now, this was where the category, of the virgins came about. Was that the 5 who had reserves in their oil lamps were referred to as wise. The 5 who did not have reserve at all, right, reserves of oil at all, were termed foolish. But they were introduced as 10 virgins. And I want us to pay attention to that introduction because, it will further amplify what we're going to be discussing today. Now, the story tells us about 10 virgins. They all had lamps. They all had access. They all had the invitation, right? They were all invited. They all had the same destination they were going, right? But only 5 of them at the end of the story entered. And then when you begin to look at these 5, like I said earlier, it wasn't because they were smarter. It wasn't because they were more loved. It wasn't because they prayed more. There was really no criteria that really distinguished them, but a certain kind of action, right? But it was because they were more prepared than the other 5. The difference was an extra oil. The difference was preparation. The difference was extra oil. The difference was preparation. Right? I'm going to be talking about several, financial points we can learn. But for the nature of this story, oil represents savings. Oil represents financial discipline. Oil represents emergency reserves. Oil represents investment capacity. Oil represents margin. We're going to be looking at this story from the financial standpoint, right? Because it's not just about the 5 virgins now. Is that most people are either part of this divide. And by the end of this conversation, we're going to see where we truly belong, right? Because oil was not used immediately, the oil was stored. Savings is money you don't need today, but your future depends on it. King's on savings. If you remember, I said oil represents savings as well. So the first financial principle we're going to be looking at is income does not guarantee access. Preparation does. All 10 virgins had lamps. This means all 10 virgins had income. All 10 virgins had opportunity. All 10 virgins had potential. But only 5 had reserves. Many people earn money. Few people prepare with it. Right? Now, opportunity itself does not announce its timing. Right? Because if you pay attention to what happened in this story, right, the bridegroom delayed. And this is crucial because opportunity rarely comes when expected. Opportunity comes when most people are unprepared. It's very interesting. Example, job opportunities that require a relocation immediately. You're done with school. Your skill set is needed somewhere. You need to move immediately for that, but there is no money. Investment opportunities that requires quick capital. There is no money. Business opportunities that require immediate commitment. I've been in that shoe before. Emergencies that require immediate financial response. I pray that we don't get into situations like this, but yeah, it has happened to me before. The foolish virgins assumed that timing would favor them. The wise virgins prepared for uncertainty. The foolish virgins had assumed that, what we have is enough, blah, 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 blah. But the wise virgins were, what if? Financial principle 2. Financial maturity is prepared for what you cannot predict. I'll take that again. Financial principle 2 in this story is financial maturity is prepared for what you cannot predict. Savings is not about certainty. Savings is not all about uncertainty either. The wise virgin did not know when the bridegroom would come, but they prepared anyway. This is what we call financial foresight. Is that the wise virgin did not know when the bridegroom would come, but they prepared anyway for it. You never know when that savings would come, but you have it stock anyways, right? Lately, Pastor Ibuku, was giving a conversation of how our husband was able to lock down an oil deal at Pastor Emmanuel's Iren's church. And when I reviewed that particular story again, it dawned on me that she had said that her husband was a prudent man. He was not a risk taker. He was a prudent man. And that was how that opportunity came, and he was able to utilize it. She, on the other hand, was a risk taker. Now, I'm not saying anybody is, I'm just trying to give an idea of what is possible, because the ability or how we bought those oil facilities, she didn't say, right? Because she's already a business person. He was already working in the public sector. So of course, she being a business person, they will be able to capitalize and get funds and raise funds to take on that opportunity. But it tells you the caliber of people that certain kind of opportunities come to, and what it takes for them to be able to harness those opportunities. Is that many times in life, what you do not prepare for, right, you will not be able, right, you will not be able to attain it, or attaining such things will be difficult. Let me progress. The most painful truth is that no one will really lend you their preparation. When the foolish virgins ran out of oil, they asked the wise virgins to share with them. The wise virgins refused, right? And I want you to really, really look at what the wise virgins have said, right, in verse 9. But the wise answered, saying, since there will not be enough oil for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy for yourself. This was a very, very wise advice. This was a very good advice. And they were like, this oil will not be enough for both of us if we split into two halves, right? And it tells you about what financial prudence means. I believe that as we progress, we'll talk about this a lot. But the wise virgins refused, and this was not selfishness. This is reality. There are some things nobody can transfer to you, and let me tell you them. Nobody can transfer discipline to you because they were disciplined enough to carry an extra oil. It means they put in the extra work, put in the extra effort. Nobody can transfer preparation to you because they were prepared. Nobody can transfer financial stability to you. Savings is personal. Preparation is personal. Responsibility is personal. Oh my God. Oh my good God. And I want you to know that, according to the third financial principle we have here, nobody owes you the consequence of their discipline. This is why people miss opportunities. Not because other people are wicked, but because preparation cannot be borrowed. No, nobody wants to help me. If you remember the man, we had done a podcast on him. The man at Bethsaida, who has been there for 38 years. His excuse was that nobody was able to push him into the water. So it means many people have utilized that opportunity, were prepared for it, and when it was time, they had people who pushed them in. And that was his excuse, and he was there for 38 years because of that particular excuse. Very, very shameful. Nobody can pass their opportunity or can pass their preparation to you. The cost of financial unpreparedness is missed opportunity. The foolish virgins went to buy oil. While they were buying the oil, the door closed. This is powerful. Opportunity has timing. Delay has consequence. Financial unpreparedness creates delay. Delay creates loss. Loss creates regret. If you want, I can take that again. Right? Opportunity has timing. Delay has consequence. Financial unpreparedness creates delay. Delay creates loss. Loss creates regret. Financial principle 4. Opportunity favors the prepared, not the hopeful. Many years ago, I remember when I was a cryptocurrency teacher, we had this slogan. We would say, hope is not a strategy, right? For those of us who trade crypto, we always say it. Hope is not a strategy, and I want to modify it a bit. Hope is not a financial strategy. Preparation is. There's nothing like I'm hoping. I learned this from a friend many years ago when I was in the university. He said, Kingson, whenever you're making financial plans, make financial plans with the money you have at hand, not the one you're expecting. And I think it was because I wanted a loan from him to actually kickstart my business. I had a popcorn business I was doing then in school. His name is Mark. Very, very, very remarkable guy, right? And he said, so, what are your plans? So I told them, okay, so you see, if you give me this loan, I'll be able to do this. Then, I've had this investment, I've had that investment, or this investment will come in at this point. They were all cryptocurrency investment as of then. And he said, how much do you have right now? I said, okay, I have 10,000. I believe that with this 10,000 you give me, this is what I'll be able to do. He said, great, Kingson. Let us plan with the money we have right now. So you have 10K. If I give you an additional 10K, what will you be able to do with it? And that was how we planned. Do you know that, guys? Do you know that those investments I had hoped on never materialized? They never materialized. What has saved me, what has kept me, was that particular income I had in my hand. And that has been one of the financial models I have built my life with. Always plan with the money you have in your hands. This oil I have, what am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with it? Because that was what killed these people. By the time they would go out to go get oil and return, it was already too late. Hope is not a financial strategy. Preparation is. People will say, I will save when I earn more. That's not true. You don't save when you earn more. You save from what you have. Let me shock you. If you earn $100 every month, $100 is somewhere around $150K in Nigeria. I might be wrong. But let's just say 130K. If you tell yourself that from this 130K, I'm going to be saving 20K monthly. 20,000 naira monthly. Let me shock you. You will do everything within your power to live within your means. Okay, 130K is too big. 50K. If you tell yourself from 50K, I'm going to be saving 6,000 naira monthly. If you are disciplined on that commitment to yourself, you will be amazed that every single thing that would come around your path, around your way, every opportunities you will make will be confirmed around the money you're willing to spend, including assisting people, which of course we'll talk about later on, because that seems to be one of the mistakes we make as we build our wealth, as we build our finances. Income does not create savings. Discipline creates savings. So you don't save more because you earn more. You save because you're disciplined. Yeah. Interesting, right? Yeah, we are all learning all of this from the 10 virgins. It's a very, very remarkable parable. I mean, very insightful, lots of lessons to be learned from it. Now, let me give you a little bit of a personal story, right? I've been thinking about breaking a particular circle, and I'm going to be very, very plain, because I've had people written to me and via email explaining some of the situations they are in and how they hope they want to come out from it. And I'm gonna be vulnerable here as well. So I practically do not come from that much of a wealthy home, right? And I don't think we were also middle class either. That kind of judgment comes with a whole lot of back and forth. But something I discovered, that my parents had income, but they didn't have a very candid or a very disciplined saving culture. Now they are both parents, and of course most people had the technology. They will say, as a pastor, what are you saving for? What are you saving for? You have members who are in need, right? You have members who are in need, and you're saving. What are you saving for? And that particular thought process have led many people into financial ruin. Because the truth is this: financial responsibility is everybody's choice. Financial responsibility should be everybody's concern. And they were not saving not because they were not irresponsible, as people would say, but because they were emotionally generous with their financial structure. So situations where you see maybe probably somebody had blessed my dad or something, and he had kept money for school. The next thing school fees for his children. The next thing a member calls him and said, "Hey, Pastor, my pikin and I never chop," or "Pastor, I no get money to pay my pikin school fees," and "Pastor, they wanted my pikin," but your child also still attending school. And sometimes because of that emotional generosity, what happens is that they give a lending hand, right? And that money that was saved for a particular thing has lost its essence. And because of that, they were always in a place where there was always lack. Not because there were no income, but because the financial structure was engulfed by what I call emotional generosity, which of course is against God's principle, because there is a time for sowing, there's a time for reaping. There's a time for gathering, and there's a time for what? giving. Right? These were part of biblical principles, biblical thought. And that's where many people are today, helping everyone, saving nothing, going nowhere. The fifth principle here is lack of saving is not lack of income, but it is lack of structure. The reason why you're not saving is not because you don't have enough income, but because you lack structure. You say something extra, I said this to someone, and he said, Kingston, you said something very, very, very extremely powerful. Saving disciplines your spending. If you commit to save $30 out of $100, your brain will adapt. Your needs will adapt to that remaining $70. Anything beyond that point would not interest you. And it's not about, of course, there's this thing that people will say something like, Kingston, feed the body that works the money. No, absolutely no problem with that. But that is a statement of people who are financially reckless. Because saving is a structure. It's a financial structure. And the lack of it will throw you in situations where some opportunities are way beyond your reach, even if you can be able to utilize them. So savings builds discipline. Discipline builds stability. Stability builds freedom. I will say that again. Savings builds discipline. Discipline builds stability. Stability builds freedom. Now, emotional generosity is what is keeping many people poor. I was talking about it, and I just had to touch down on it. Many people don't have savings because family needs money, friends needs money, emergency always arise. This was the story of me February, this month. I had told myself that, okay, for this month of February, I was going to save a certain amount of money. Ladies and gentlemen, as I speak with you right now, I could only save 20% of the money I had desired to save. 20%. Because I'm not perfect from this. I'm also victim of this particular instance. Many people I came through for this month, I had no business coming through for them. But of course, when you grow up in a family, there are certain traits you will get from, parents, uncles, people. And one of those traits I got is what I termed emotional generosity. There are some situations people will find themselves not because they were in those situations, but because they lack the discipline to avoid those situations. And in those situations, you have no business with it. That was why the wise 5 virgins told the 5 foolish ones, this oil will not be enough for me and you. Go and buy. It's because sometimes some people get into debts, into problems because of financial recklessness. And the only way to come out of it is for you. Is for you to come and save them. This is such an issue because for many of the times, right, we have situations where you're asking yourself, so tell me, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do for you? How am I supposed to help you? You got yourself into this mess. And sometimes they need to feel the burden or the consequence of their poor decision making. The truth is, if you ever build yourself, you will never be able to help sustainably. You will remain in survival mode forever. If you never build yourself, you will never be able to help sustainably. So it means what we call sustainably helping. That is the ability for you to help without you putting yourself in risk. Without you putting yourself in a mess. This was where I found myself this month of February 2026. Right? Because when you're in such situation, you will remain in survival mode forever. That is one of the things that, emotional generosity causes. The wise virgins helped themselves first. First, they prepared and secured their future. Time is fast spent, right? I'm going to see how best I can wrap this up, or if I can't, right? We can have two sections, but I think I'm almost done. I'm almost done with this. The sixth financial principle here is you cannot build others while financially destroying yourself. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship. It is stewardship to yourself. It is stewardship to your future. I'll take that again. You cannot build others while financially destroying yourself. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship. The door closed is the final consequence. The closed door is the final consequence for being financially irresponsible. Now I'm talking about the five foolish virgins, right? This is what happens when you are not aligned to a particular financial routine or a particular financial structure, or when you lack savings. It is the most painful part of the story. The foolish virgins returned. They knocked, but it was too late. Opportunity does not wait forever. Time does not wait forever. Preparation must happen before opportunity arrives, not after. Opportunity does not wait forever. Time does not wait forever. Opportunity must happen before, preparation rather must happen before opportunity arrives, not after, right? And when you now look at it, right, the modern financial application for your life today is right now, right? Many listeners are foolish virgins financially, including the very same guy who is making this podcast, because this was how I felt by this time this month. This is 21st of February. I had already tapped into my savings and I've spent over 80% of what I had desired to save for the month. Many listeners are acting as the foolish virgins financially. Not because they are bad people, though. Of course, when we talk about people who are emotional generosity people, they're not bad people. But because they are unprepared. They have income, but no reserves. They have potential, but no preparation. They have dreams, but no financial structure. Oh, I want to be able to achieve this. I want to be able to achieve this. And how do you want to achieve that? I'll pray for it. Lie. In Nigeria, where I come from, what they say, lie means it's not true. You have to be prepared for it. And if anybody has built a financial structure for themselves, and you have reckless friends who always come to you, you're also not wise. Because the wise people did not share. Hey, Kingston, what are you saying? Yes, I said it with my full chest. The wise people did not give the oil from their reserves. So what is the final call to action? The final call to action is this. Your future is not decided by your income. Your future is decided by your preparation. I'll take that again. Your future is not decided by your income. Your future is decided by your preparation. Start saving. Start building margin. Start building discipline. Because one day, opportunity will come. And when it comes, only those with oil will enter. I'm very sure this has blessed you very much. See you again next month. And of course, keep the email coming. Contact me. I'll be willing to always share some of these ideas with you as we advance further. Don't forget, this is our year of illumination, and we must shine. We must shine because a maker must shine. Thank you.